Hey Hebrew fans, today is the day of reckoning. Day of reckoning. Here's what we're going to do is we are going to alter Rio Blast to be able to actually open up his chest and have his gun stored inside. So I've talked about this for years and I've had different plans. And I had a plan a long time ago of using a Buzz Saw Hordak, but I never really ended up doing it. Well, today I am going to go for the gusto and try it out. Now, I did think about using the Origins version, but the chest hole is just way too small for the Classics gun to fit in there correctly. So this is out, and we're going back to the original plan, which is Buzz Saw Hordak. And I saw that someone online already did the Buzz Saw Hordak, which I was planning, and they had the same thought and idea. So I went and bought a brand new Buzz Saw Hordak, still in the package. So our first order of business is to find out which one we're going to open and use for this cool endeavor. So let's go ahead and slide all my tools back. And let's take a look. And this was my original Buzz Saw Hordak that I had before I bought the new one. And we're looking for good figure, bad box is what we're going for to open. So this figure seems to be in relatively good shape. And the box has a dent here, a bend there, and that's about it. And now let's take a look at the new one that I just purchased. And let's see what it looks like. Come on out of there. And the new one seems to have a better box art or box card than mine does, and the figure looks like it's in good shape too. All right. I guess the figure quality doesn't matter, so I'm going to take and rip it apart into pieces and Dremel it like crazy to make the armor fit over the top. So I guess I should save the good figure and not the bad one. But the figures look both comparable. So I'm going to keep the one I just bought. And I actually have now the original box for it, which is kind of cool, so I didn't have that before. And let's just go ahead and slide this back into its box. And seal that up. And I will take the sticker from my shelf so I know when I put it in there, it's Buzz Saw Hordak. And I will put it right back in my shelf. Fit. With all of my other figures nicely labeled and lined up. There we go. So this is our victim today. No! Yes, it is the end, Hordak. Let's go ahead and open them up and let's check them out really quick. And then we'll talk about what we're going to do with this poor guy. So let's open the box. First of all, here's what's funny. Here's the funny part, is these are the figures that are released at the same time. And if you take a look, you will see we have Buzz Saw Hordak, which we know because we have it in our hand. And he has the open chest cavity with his Buzz Saw in there. And then was Rio Blast. And it's like, if they're already making an open cavity chest figure, why not make Rio Blast that same way? I don't understand why they decided not to do the open fit in spot for his gun. It would have been perfect and it would have worked out just fine because they already had the concept for Buzz Saw Hordak. But I am glad they didn't give us a Buzz Saw Hordak that didn't have an open chest to shoot out the Buzz Saw. Alright, and with that, let's go ahead and open this up. And in the past, I failed at doing this. I was afraid to be too aggressive on it. But this time, I do not have the same fears. I'm fine with being overly aggressive to make this work. So, let's make this happen. Make it happen, Captain. Now, what's funny is I kept saving all these. I have one of these for each figure I have. And I thought it would be an awesome sticker, just like the 2000X. It looks like it has a sticker back on it, but it's not. There's no sticker to it at all. It's just a label. But I still have a bag of them that equals every figure I've ever opened. And it's a pretty big bag of... I thought at first I was saving, like I said, for stickers, but then eventually it was like, you know, it's kind of funny in a way to save every single one I've ever opened so I can have a quick representation of every single figure I've opened by just seeing the stack, the immense stack. Why won't you separate? Now, what made this Hordak cool was this particular accessory right here. The original Hordak came with a white crossbow, and this was the only way to get the white crossbow at the time. So some people bought him just for the white crossbow. So this is like a coveted weapon. Now, this one's actually bent a little bit. I'm just going to toss it in some hot water here to straighten it out before I file it away in my pile of extra parts. But let's get back to Buzz Saw Hordak. All right. So let's cut him out of here. If I ever get out of here. Now it is nice now I have some extra parts. Some more customizing. I was running out of Hordak parts the other day when I was doing some stuff, so this will be good. And there is his Buzz Saw, which is not really that impressive. Not really. Basically, it goes in his chest, and you close it up. There's no firing mechanism, nothing like that. It doesn't shoot out at a rapid rate. It just sits in there. It's kind of like a baby's toy, the rattle. You hear it rattling, and then you open it up. And they added this little piece here so you can stick it on the end there so it looks like it's shooting out. Personally, I have one that has a big old flame that comes out that I put it on. It looks way cooler. It was the flame from the Human Torch. I forget what brand it was, a figure, but the flame was made to mount them on the wall, but it works great for using it for Buzz Saw Hordak. So let's talk about how we're planning on doing this. What I have to do to make this work is there's a couple ways. One, I could cut the arm right here where it connects, right there, and then attach the next arm by holding it in place, gluing it. But the problem I'd have then is these little pieces right here would be gray instead of skin tone. So I'd have to either paint them skin tone or something else. Hold on, let me get this guy out of here. There he is. So this part right here would then be gray instead of skin tone. So my next option, which is a little more tricky, is I'm going to bust open this torso on this Hordak here and try to remove it from inside the torso. So to do this, there's a seam right here that we have to crack open all the way along. And it's not just the seam on the outside, it also goes on the inside of the hole and across the top and across the head. So let's go ahead and pull him apart and start getting him ready. Let's get ready to rumble and get ready to pull him apart. Now his head is not wanting to come off very easily. There we go. So the best way to do this is to start on the head up here at the top and slowly split it apart. Now normally I'd want to be super careful because any seam you see on the outside is going to be very visible. But my plan is not, I don't have to be that careful, so I'm just going to take and literally throw the armor on over the top so that it is going to cover any issues we have with the seam not being perfect. Now this armor right here is pretty fat, but I believe because of the way these sides are, once I sand them down a little bit, it won't be quite so bad. So lots and lots and lots of dremeling. I may have to leave and Dremel in a spot that's a little cleaner than here to not get this area to be a disaster. But let's go ahead and start by splitting this guy apart. So let's slide this back up. And let's first see how this piece is doing here. And look at that. It's nice and straight the way it's supposed to be. I'll let it cool on its back just like that, and then I will store it away where it's supposed to go. So now it's time to throw Buzz Saw Hordak into the fray. Open. Why is everything just not working today? Okay, Buzz Saw. It is time for your bath of baths. Now my first I'm going to do is pull off his arms to reveal just the shoulders. So I'll let that sit for a while. It's nice too, now I got an extra buzz saw I can throw in with my Hordak figures. I'll set these there, set that there. Now I have these tools right here that are used for separating. It's actually made for a locking ring, and this goes in the locking ring either forward or back, and I find it was really good to put it in the seam and then just split it apart for breaking open figures. I also have lots of screwdrivers. You start to break them apart, you want to run these screwdrivers down the seams and help hold it open as you go along and break it apart. I have a larger screwdriver here, which is used for when you get it into the seam, you just twist it and it helps crack it open some more. And then I have some pliers here, of course, to try to get it. And then I have lots of scissors in order to cut out different parts as we go along. All right, let's see if he's softened up enough to get those arms off. Oh, the band. I love to save the bands to use on other Horde customs. So I will definitely be saving his armband. Armband. Oh, they glued it on. No! Come on off there. I don't know why they started gluing everything. That was a bad idea. Just look at the end of the arm when you have the glue on there. And you can see they actually cast it in white. What is the deal with that? Why not just cast it in black plastic? So now we have the black paint and glue there. And then we have the white on the inside because that's the plastic they used when they cast it. Oh well, it's going to go on an arm anyway. I can be able to see that, or a leg. So more spare parts to save. Alright. So now we got him down just to his little nubs of shoulders, and now we can dunk him all the way in. Let's get that. There we go. And here we go. Burp. It's cool too. I need some more black hands. So black hands are in short supply. One of my figures, one of my Hordaks is the wrong hand. And now I can fix that problem. Alright, this is dried and cooled. So let's put that in a pile of spare parts that I'm planning on saving. Look at this. I could actually remake a Hordak from the pieces when I'm done. Because I have this black torso here. That's funny. I may do that, just throw him back onto this black torso and just make a regular Hordak. I'll still need Horde armor, but... Okay, let's get him out of the water. Let's see if we can't split that torso open. Okay, let's see if there's any weak spots first. That's what I always look for. One good spot for a weak spot sometimes is right inside, right here in the armpit. Usually you can get a good weak spot in there and break it apart to start the breaking. You can see, and sure enough, the seam is starting to come apart just ever so slightly by getting in the armpit. And that's a great place to first try to break a figure apart, is in that armpit there. There's also a connection point right there. Another spot to break it apart to start with is right here in the top of the head. And I've used that many times. You have to be careful though, because it will break really easy if you're not careful. And being this part will be exposed later on, we have to be extra careful. And so far, no go. Now some people will take a razor blade and cut along the edge here. I suggest not doing that. That is a good surefire way to get yourself hurt. So I would not use the old razor blade method. Let's get that shoulder out of there so we can see what we got going on. Now, separating the shoulder is a little bit harder. You have to actually break the little pin inside there to get it apart. Now you could do this a couple ways, either with an X-Acto knife, which works really good, or you can also use scissors to reach in there and just kind of chop it. So I'll try my AA scissors and see if it's hot enough to get in there and cut it. Yeah, it's cooled down too much. Oh well. Oh, there we go. Separate. You can do it. Oh, you hear that crack? That is a good sign. Oh, there's another one. It's coming apart now. Come on, baby. Let's do the twist. Oh, I put a little white spot right there by pushing too hard. Okay, so we got that partially cracked open. We'll just work our way down from that shoulder there. Let's try the bigger screwdriver. Bomb, 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 bomb. I cannot get the other pieces to crack. Okay. We got this. We got this. Now what's interesting, if you didn't know this already, is the crack goes through the hole where the shoulder's connected. So if you can get and use that weak spot where the shoulder is, you can see it's starting to split ever so slightly right there. There we go. You got one more place to break open on this side here, and then it should come pretty easily. Give me that shoulder. Geben Sie deinem Shoulder. Now, things can go wrong at this point. You can actually split the armor badly, or split the torso badly, so be careful. There we go. Hooray! Hooray! So now you can see how it's built. We got the shoulder pieces in there, just like that. Here's the center piece. Here's the back. And, whoop. I'll probably still use that same piece. And then here are the legs. Alright, let's get the parts out of here we don't need. So I'm not sitting there fighting with too many extra variables. And now to do the same with Rio Blast. Rio Blast! Okay. Into the hot water for you. So while we're waiting for that, you can see right here the spot. That's where it's silver paint that was actually glued on there from the paint. And that was causing an issue where the waist didn't want to turn when I first opened the figure up. That's pretty common. Now, I did cause a little bit of bending, so when I go to put this back together, I'm going to have to pre-bend that back so I don't have a gap at the top. So I'll heat this up, superheat it, and then bend it right in this area, and then that should fix that problem before I put it together. Don't wait till after you put it together, because you will never get it unbent after it's put together. Okay. Now with Rio, I'm going to try to keep his arms on so I can tell which is the right, which is the left for the shoulders, because it's really easy to mix them up. These come apart really easy. Look at that. Rio, you're an easy target. You just snap, crack, and popping left and right. Okay, now I ran into a snag. Let's go on this side now. Come on, snap. I can see it just splitting right there, but it just will not give me that snap where you feel it just crack and you know that you've got it. It's just so close. So close, but a no cigar. He's gonna be stubborn. I thought he'd be an easy mark, but come on, Zipeta. Oh, it's just cracking instead of coming apart. Well, good thing you weren't planning on saving this torso, because it is not going to be savable afterwards for the blue one. And this torso is a little harder because we actually have two pieces to it. This and the ab crunch. He is not coming apart easy. I'm not going down. I don't want the cybernetics. You can't make me. Rio, you'll like the cybernetics. It'll make you faster, stronger. Oh, we got it apart, but look at the cost. It broke down his back. Orthobionic Man was difficult to get his him to give up the ghost. Hey Siri, turn on Do Not Disturb.
Okay, I've turned Do Not Disturb.
Hey, we got one arm. Come on, Rio de Janeiro. You can do it. Oh, he's pretty much shot now, but I just need to get his parts out of there now. So people all the time ask me if I can take apart their vintage figures and fix things or do things. And I tell them that there's only 1 in 3 chance that I can get it apart successfully without destroying the figure. And that's true. You can see here, this figure has been destroyed. There's no way I can reuse this torso. I got the arms though, which is what I was after. But if you take a look, somebody asked me, they said, why don't you just sand out a square and cut it right here? Well, let's take a look at that for a second. Let me open this up. Parts are falling out everywhere. And see how deep this hole goes? You know what? Let me change this light out. Ooh, that light's dead too. Okay. So let's say you're to take and try to sand this out to match this open hole right here. This hole goes pretty far back and pretty deep, and you can see the shape of the inside. It's right where the ab crunch is. If you take this out and look at it, there is like no room to cut out a hole inside Rio Blast. And people are thinking the ab crunch is just a small piece, but it's actually this giant chunk of a piece that covers this whole bottom area, and there's no way to cut that out just in a square in his chest. It just would not work. So now let's get this piece off. This one's a little harder to get off. Sometimes you just use a hammer and smash it to get it off. By hitting it just right, you'll crack the plastic glue. I might save that. Guess I'll try to bend that back while we're at it. I've had a lot of problems trying to get these apart before, especially to get them apart to save them. Now, the easiest figure I ever pulled apart was actually, what is his name? King Hiss for Classics. They used very little glue on him. He came apart really easy, and that was pretty cool. Ooh. And this is not going to go easy, I can tell already. Usually if you hit it a few times like that, you'll get at least some sort of cracking, but this guy is going to be a pain in the tush. Where are my regular pliers? Did I not grab them? Okay, I'll be right back with some pliers. Alright, I'm back. And I got myself some big pliers here. And we're just going to open these up. And we're just going to squish this one side and see if we can get the paint, or the seam to crack. It's not going to crack. Yeah, I'm going to have to use a bigger hammer. Bigger hammer! Now again, I've resolved to not saving the parts. So that's why I'm being a little more aggressive with this one. Because we're not going to need these anymore. We're all going to need the legs and the parts inside. So we have to be a little careful. Ugh. I think I have to heat that water some more. Yeah, the water is too cool. Alright, I'm going to be back with some more hot water. Alright, I got some fresh hot water, and I also took and smashed this a couple times with a sledgehammer. It didn't do anything. So I'm going to toss this in the hot water again. Boop. And this as well. And let's go ahead, and I may drill some small holes just to give us some relief to get the screwdriver in there to break it apart. So I got my cool drill motor. So I guess I could have done that with the torso too. Might have made life a little bit easier. Now the bad part about drilling, if you're planning on saving the parts, now you have a hole to plug later on, unless that part's going to be covered up. I got a nice little small drill here. Not quite enough yet. I'm gonna have to use my heat gun to heat this thing up some more before I try to reshape it. Oh, I got water on it. All right, let's just take and drill this very carefully. I'm drilling it right on the seam so I can get the screwdriver in there and turn it. See if we can't get that to split apart. Split it apart. Hey, hooray. There we go. Dun 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 dun. Got it apart. Yep, nice little trick to use the drill. Of course, some people will use cold water instead of hot water, or put it in the refrigerator. I think that works pretty good too. The hot water, I think, makes this plastic too soft. So I think going forward, I'm not going to use the hot water anymore for splitting seams. Maybe just to try to break the glue and then freeze it immediately. But I've learned my lesson. No more hot water, break seams. Bad idea. In the past, I used to just crack them open, so I think I'll go back to what I used to do, because that just seemed to destroy them more than help. Okay. Let's see how close this is with that slight bending I did. Oh, that worked great. Look at that. I guess I was hot enough to bend it straight. Okay, so this goes here. Just like that, but unfortunately, it is shaped differently. See, look at how these are different in the way they're shaped. I did not realize that. So, we are going to have to do some more ripping apart and surgery a little bit. Where are my paper towels? I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I just cleaned up my water mess, and now I got the thing turned back on. Let's get these legs out and get these ones in. Ugh. Is that water still not hot enough? That's a bummer they just didn't fit in there. It would have been perfect if I just would have fit right in there. Water waiting for that. Let's go ahead and pull this door off. Hooray, that was tough. Let's see if the arms fit. No, because that'd be too easy if the arms fit first thing. Oh, maybe. Let me try to stuff it in a little harder. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a tight fit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to sand those down a little bit. It's too tight. And once the figure's done being built, oh, you know what? Maybe not. Let's see if this fits on there. Oh yeah, that will work. That'll work just fine, sir. Let's find that blue armor and see how it fits over it. Let's see how much we have to sand. Okay, we got a lot of sanding to do. Whole lot of sanding going on. Yep, definitely. To look at a standard buck in order to figure out how much has to be sanded off. A lot of this has to go. This has to go. And I think that's it. Now, technically, I should sand the shoulders in a whole bunch, but I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I might just leave that black rim around the edge. It kind of looks like it's supposed to be there anyway. Like it's part of his costume with that black edge. So I'm just going to leave that because I think by the time I'm done sanding, it's not going to look very clean if I try to sand that off. But this definitely has to be sanded off a lot to match that profile. All right, let's see if the legs are ready to come apart now. Hooray, 1, 2. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed these little circles at the top are not going to be the right color. That does really bum me out. Are these not gonna fit? Oh, good. Whew. Now, normally they'd work just fine, but since Rio Blast's leg pieces are not super long, you will see a little bit of gray up on the top and the sides. That's gonna drive me crazy. So close. If I was to change out the leg pieces, the little circular pieces, which I could, I'd still have a little gray strip right here. Now the other thing I could do is break this apart, which is really tricky to do, and literally swap out the leg pieces. You know, I'll try to break this one apart first and see what happens and see how difficult it is. And if it's not that hard, then maybe I'll swap out the whole Yeah, that stinks that it's just a different height. I can't believe that. And it makes sense. That hole's so big in there. All right, let's try to break apart this one first. Ugh. So I'm going to break apart the one first that I can care less about. That way then if things go wrong, I can decide not to continue on. It's just not going to work. See, I should drill right here, but this is in the way, and I don't want to end up ruining that to get in there. The best spot is right here, because I'll be covered completely by the loincloth, but I can't get a good solid hook on it because it's angled. Okay, it's time to Dremel it up. Let's Dremel it up. Let's drill it. I'm going to try with just one hole first to see if I can get it. If I can get enough grip on it. E-gripper! See if we can't break this thing apart without causing too much damage. Yeah, there is no... That glue on there is so strong. Okay, I'm going to put his legs back on to the original one, just so that I don't lose track of right and left. There we go. There we go. Yeah, there's just so much glue in there. I don't see how it's going to come apart. I could get it off and save these pieces, but the tricky part is getting this one apart without destroying it. Such a small little piece can cause so many problems. Okay. Snap. Snap. You can do it. There's no way. It's going to destroy the part before I can get it apart. Yeah, see, it's just destroying it. That is such a bummer. All right, gray balls on top is how it's going to be. As much as it's going to annoy me. I mean, there is one other small way, and that is to cut this and then slide these over it. But again, it'll still have that gray stripe here. But that's not as bad as the whole entire gray ball. it's just not going to come apart. I have this friend named Steve, and he is really good at taking figures apart. You could have done this, man. Where are you, Steve? Well, he's in California, and I'm not. I got a big, giant, gaping hole. Okay. Try number 2. I'm going to cut these open and re-glue them back on here. You know what? I'm just going with the gray balls. Sorry, man. You're going to have gray upper spots. Let's get busy on sanding this. Let's get down to business. So we got long ways to make this thing fit. Yes, I can paint it tan, but the paint always sloughs off. It always makes a mess. Man. Trying to think if I could remake this part at a PLA plus. Okay. Time to get sanding. And again, our goal is that the profile will be the same. So we got a lot to sand off here. Hopefully the hole will still be large enough to accommodate the gun once we sand it off. We shall see. Yep. All right, I'm gonna go sand it in the other room so you guys don't sit and watch me sand the whole entire thing, and I can also get somewhere where I can spew plastic dust everywhere, and I'll be back. Well, I am back from sanding, Hebrew fans, and I sanded and sanded and sanded. Sanded the sides off, sanded it thinner, sanded the back thinner, smoothed it all out, and even after all that sanding, it still will not fit on there correctly. Close, but not close enough. And so I realize now the amount of modding it's going to take is quite severe. So I have another plan in mind, maybe, of actually recreating this part, mixing the two parts, obviously, so you can have the abs in the right spot and everything else in this back, because obviously the back, you can see, has some shape to it, and trying to figure out a way to make this open cavity, but taking that other part, and let me get another light. This light is dead. Taking that other part, there we go, from Buzz Saw Hordak, just would not work. I didn't think it would, but I was hopeful, and I know years ago I planned to do the same thing too. I cannot believe all the sanding I did. Remember, he had the sides on here, it stuck out, and I had to sand all the back off, and even with all that. And then on top of it, when I went to put this on, I looked at where things fall in place. the top of this does not line up with the top of this. It's much higher. And I didn't realize that even if I was successful, this top edge would not be an open hole. It would be this black area right here. So even if I was fully successful, it still would not work out well. So there you go. That's where I'm at on this. So using Buzz Saw Hordak, total failure. But I haven't given up completely yet. And you can see I've sanded this so thin, it actually went through in some areas. So it's as thin as it can possibly get without causing more destruction. So, like I said, I'm going to have to somehow design something. So close. So close. But yet it still will not work. So I'm glad I didn't spend too much time on the legs yet, because whatever I design on the computer, I can make sure there's enough room to fit these legs. So I'll have to fix that piece that I destroyed already a little bit with some different material. But still, you can see how it kind of would have worked. Almost. Almost. Oh well. It was worth a try. Even if I didn't even have the back on at all, the front is still just too big right here, and I'm out of plastic. I cannot sand anymore. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Sorry it's another flop. But the good news is you now know yourself you cannot do this. Look at that. Now the piece just came off while I was even just... wow, that is really thin right there. Look at that. Look at that. So anyway, I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and design something from scratch to be a new torso. So thanks for watching, and sorry to get your hopes up. I got my hopes up too. I was really excited thinking this is going to work. I tried to do it now for multiple days, but I just had this fear inside of me. And I know I could probably sand this too on the inside to make it thinner. By the time I'm done though, it's just going to be so fragile that it's just not worth pursuing this anymore, and the top won't be high enough, and this wall is too thin to try to sand it out to make it tall enough. So it's going to take some major designing on the computer to make something that's going to work. So anyway, back to the drawing board. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully someday we'll have a working Rio Blast for Classics. Bye now. Oh wait, I have to say good journey, don't I? Good journey. Bye now.
If you found enjoyment, like, subscribe, and ring the bell.